Hi, it's Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life, and today I have a very special guest. Not only is she my sister-in-law, so we've known each other a very long time, but Laura Willis is one of the UK's leading experts on digital well-being and management at work, and a thought leader on finding balance and thriving in our constantly on world. She co-founded Shine Offline in 2015 with the aim of helping businesses to understand the importance of supporting their staff to have healthy and sustainable relationships with their work and personal digital tech. Just tell us a little bit about why on earth you started this business and why are you so passionate about it?
Okay, thank you, Nikki. It's great to be here. Well, historically, I was a social psychology graduate who wanted to be an anthropologist and was always really interested in the behaviour, human behaviour. And I was also somebody who had a very dysfunctional relationship with my email. So I suffered from quite severe digital overload historically, and would have had high anxiety and stress as a result. And then whenever I became a mum, I was self-employed and I became so overwhelmed that I couldn't function anymore. When my daughter was born, the pull to the inbox, specifically on my smartphone, was very, very strong. I sensed that I needed to be and wanted to be with her, but I wasn't in control of my own attention. So I had a period of poor mental health and went on a journey of recovery. And what I found on the way basically inspired me to launch the business, because I realized that I could adjust my behavior around my technology. And also when I talked to other people in my life, I realized that lots of people were struggling. You know, we need this technology in our world, but a lot of people don't feel in control of it. So that was about 5 years ago. And we've been working with businesses ever since, which is super.
Now, I remember before you launched the business, this little story you told me of coming home on the tube one day. Do you mind just reliving that for us?
Yeah, so that was the light bulb day. I had been commuting up and down to King's Cross from Twickenham, and I hadn't commuted in a long time. And I'd been going through this adjustment to my own digital behaviour. And I was using the commute as an opportunity to either just look out the window or do some meditation or whatever. And I sat down beside a girl who was about my age, and I watched her. I know you're not meant to watch people on their phones, but I watched what she was doing, and she was jumping in between her apps pointlessly, you know, from WhatsApp to photos to Facebook to her calendar to news, and it was making me feel really agitated. And then I did a full day's work on this contract, and on the way home I sat down on the train beside a guy who was watching Sherlock Holmes on the BBC on his iPad and playing solitaire on his phone at the same time. And I just had a bit of a ding, was like, oh my God, like people aren't in control of their own attention. And it's not just me and my friends and family. This is a thing. You know, look at the world around us. Everybody is on their devices all of the time. And do people really want to be? And yeah, that was definitely my light bulb moment, one of my light bulb moments, I would say.
And how do you think tech has changed and how is it affecting our health?
Some people, research has found, are touching their phones 2,500 times a day. You know, a lot of us, our notifications are going off constantly, and it's not just phones, it's our emails on our laptops and everything. So there's this overstimulation of the mind, and then this raising of the cortisol as well, which is resulting in people just feeling really overwhelmed, really stressed out. It's having a negative impact on your ability to sleep. A lot of people use their phone as their alarm clock. So they're on it before they go to sleep in the middle of the night and first thing in the morning, which isn't good for your stress levels either. The reality is what we look at is often quite negative, you know, news, social media, email, work email. It can be stress-inducing stuff. And work-life balance is a massive problem for people these days as well, because the mobility of technology has allowed this flexible approach to work. But the flip side of this is an inability to actually get away from the office.
Yeah. And so how do we know as individuals if we've got a problem with our tech? Because there's a lot of denial, isn't there?
I think if you take a moment to think about your behaviour and whether it is affecting the relationships of the people that you're with. Do you feel really present with people? Or do you feel sometimes that you're not connecting because you're all maybe in your own digital bubbles? Do you think your sleep might be affected because you are maybe looking at stuff before you go to sleep and maybe in the middle of the night? Do you feel like if you're looking at a lot of news and stuff, is that actually doing you any good? So the short answer is, I think most people have a bit of a problem with it, apart from your brother, who's a weirdo,
He's
because he's
just a
got great.
saint. It's funny
So
actually.
yeah,
You two are the only people I know that really literally don't text me back straight away or respond straight away. And then I remember, oh yeah, they only check their messages every so often.
well, this is it. My phone is in the cupboard where the tea bags stay most of the day.
So, Laura, what are your top 5 tips for those of us that need to really improve our relationship with our phones and our gadgets?
Okay, so tip 1 is get yourself a small child. Well, which is loosely translated as get yourself an alarm clock.
Right.
Because children are very unpredictable. They can wake up at any time. 80% of people use their phone as their alarm clock, which means that a lot of people look at it before they go to sleep. 1 in 3 of us, according to Deloitte, look at it in the middle of the night. And a lot of us look at it before we've even got out of bed.
Yeah.
So cortisol's up before we've gone to sleep, which isn't going to help. The mind's overstimulated. We're causing ourselves stress and worry. And then we start in the day by looking at news and Donald Trump said something ridiculous or whoever, somebody sent you a horrible email and you haven't even put your toe on the carpet.
Yeah.
So remove the temptation of being on first thing and last thing by getting an alarm clock. The second thing, a game changer for me that we really advise people to do is to have 2 separate phones. Mm-hmm. 1 phone for your personal time and for your personal world and 1 phone for your professional world, because I realized that having 1 phone meant that it was impossible to put boundaries in place for myself.
Yeah.
So I got the 2 devices, which meant that I could enjoy my personal time without work near me. Number 3 would be to start using the tech to help you. So you've got screen time features on the iPhone, and you've got the digital wellbeing dashboard on Android, which is basically functionality that helps you to understand your behavior. Mm-hmm. So you can go in and you can see how long you were on the device today, what you did. Say you analyze that you're actually looking at Twitter 3 hours a day and it feels like too much. You can put a limit on that to 2 hours or whatever and try and get it down. Right. Also, there are apps that you can still put on your phone, like Off Time is a great app, Forest is another great app. They're free, and you put them on your phone and they basically allow you to disable the device for a set amount of time to avoid those distractions. And one of the biggest things for me that cracks me up every time I go to work with a group, I always ask, regardless of whether you're using Gmail, Lotus Notes, Outlook, who knows about working offline on email? And you'll get this sea of blank faces. Mm. I live and breathe by working offline on email.
What do you mean by that?
What I recommend is, if you're somebody who normally spends all day on all your email and you're getting interrupted by it, try working offline for maybe the first 15 minutes of an hour. For me, that's a game changer. And the final one is to practice some sort of exercise for your attention. The simplest way to do this is through mindfulness. So, just 10 minutes of breath meditation every day will to change the structure of your brain, and you will find yourself in a place where you're building the capacity to focus, as well as lowering your stress and overthinking and increasing your self-compassion and all the rest of it. So mindfulness is incredibly powerful. But if you don't want to practice a formal type of meditation, just finding something you can do to get yourself really in the zone, get rid of all distractions and read long form or knit or do yoga or gardening or cooking. What is that thing you could do for 20 minutes every day that would exercise the attention in your mind and lower your stress at the same time as well? So they would be my 5. There's many, many more, but they would be my 5 top.
Laura, I am absolutely in awe of your work. Thank you so much for bringing this really, really important thing to the world and changing people's views. And how can people find out a little bit more if they want to go and find out some more about this or get more tips from you? I think you've got quite a few bits on your website, haven't you?
Yeah, so we've written quite a few blogs recently, a couple specifically for the coronavirus situation, but lots of other ones, positive parenting in the digital age, around screen time with your kids, managing your inbox, how to do deep work, the power of mindfulness, loads in there. So it's shineoffline.com/blog. You'll see loads of stuff that we've written.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. I really enjoyed our chat, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.